Greetings. Greetings and salutations. Another beautiful day. Just thought I would go live here on my drive. Let's do some errands once again. Life calls, duty calls, and wanted to remind everybody today is Saturday, February 3rd, and tomorrow on February 4th. So look to find a connect to look devices, connect to TV device. I don't need that. Let's see. Sorry about that. So tomorrow, February 4th, Sunday, probably at about 12:30 p.m. If you would like to come back here and join me and William Rail live, and I've invited Sophia and Catherine, and we'll see if they're able to come on in, and we're gonna continue part 2 of the timeline. We did a show, William and I did a live show 2 weeks ago, so we'll continue that series of going over the timeline that he has. It's like 27 pages, so we'll see how far we can get with that timeline, and we'll keep running through it until we get to the end of it. But we only got to page 2. I think William and I did 2 hours and 2 pages, or page 1, page 2, so you can kind of tell how long this series is going to be, but just wanted to remind everybody, if you would like to join us live, we will be there. There'll be a live chat room as well, and I hope everybody can. I hope you can make it, or at least watch the replay. I thank everybody who watched the first one. That was really cool, and tomorrow we'll go back and we'll do part 2, and hope that one goes well. There's still a lot to cover, obviously, since we only got to page 1 or page 2 of the whole thing. So we'll see how far we can get tomorrow. 12:30 p.m. we'll be going over, we'll continue with what's in the timeline there. And it is up in the Justice for David Crowley and Family Facebook group. Any new changes, or if there's another update, which I think there does need to be some things included in that, some things that I can include in that timeline. William has given me a copy of the Word doc. I have not had a chance to add anything to it yet, but hopefully I will. And you can always catch him on Strange Investigations. Hey, YouTube didn't send a notification. Hey, Sophia, good to see you. Glad you're here. I just sent you and Catherine a message to see if you both want to join us tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. live show with William, and we're going to continue going over the timeline. Yeah, YouTube is not giving anybody notifications. Some people get them, but a lot of people don't get them now. So, which kind of sucks. But trying to figure out a workaround around that. So. I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. You know, I have a couple YouTube channels, and I'm not even getting them for my other shows and everything. So I don't know what YouTube's problem is, but they need to really chill out with all of that. That's why people are moving to Rumble and moving away to other things. Only bad thing about Rumble is I think you have to pay to go live on Rumble, so that kind of sucks. Getter has a live thing too, but I haven't really looked into that. I'm guessing you probably have to pay for that too. So YouTube is still kind of ahead of the curve, because it's free for now. If people can find you, if people can watch it and check it out, I guess, as long as they know. The more advanced notice, and that's why I'm putting this one out here today for people that may not get the notification for tomorrow's show. So I figured I'll just make a little show here, and while I'm driving around doing errands, and but I do hope that you'll be able to join us, and we'll again have a live chat room. We'll be live. I don't know if we'll do it on Zoom. Here's the thing about Zoom, as a lot of people probably know, if we do it on Zoom, it's going to cut out now after 40 minutes, because I'm not paying for the paid version of Zoom. So a free conference call might be better. I just love the audio and the video quality of Zoom. It's so much better. It's so much better, but I just can't really justify right now paying $14 a month. You know, I got to pay for my wrestling shows. Got to cover all that. Cover the real things that count in this world, apparently. Just kidding. So, yeah, so let me know about that, Sophia, in the email. But if anybody else, you know, if you want to join, and please participate in the chat room. And again, as we start adding more things to the timeline, which I know that we will be adding more things to that timeline. I hope it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And who knows, maybe William will do something with it one day. Probably would have enough for a whole book at some point, at the pace he's going. Not just with that, but with the phone records, the financials, the spreadsheets. So turning the spreadsheets into a book, and including the timeline and everything. I'm sure he can really have something really, really cool. So that'll be great. And we got to like 2007 or 2008, so we have not even scratched the surface on that timeline. So it'll be interesting, especially if we have more people joining. It'll be interesting to see how far we can get on it. The timeline is a very important thing to know exactly what happened when with everything. In this very strange case, 7 years later, it's just getting stranger. Oh, excuse me. I mean, some things are kind of clearer. I believe a lot of it is, but there's still some very strange things. So, and then next week, for any of you who are a subscriber to Ellie's channel, Ellie79, 78, we are, she's going to have me on hopefully next week, probably around this time, most likely a little earlier, but I should be on there on her channel, and we're going to go over, or at least we're going to record. I don't know if we're going to do it live or how we're going to do it, but however she wants to do it is fine. We're going to go back over the basics of the case, which I think is really good. It's always good to do that, especially if we're doing something on a different channel. I think it's always good to go back over that and just kind of cover some of those main basic facts. So I'll be thinking about what I should include in that as well, because there is so much that you want to say, so much that you want to put in there, and then you don't always have the time to put everything in there. So she said maybe we'll go about 1 hour. Of course, she knows how we are, so we'll go over probably, but we'll try to keep it somewhere around 1 hour and under 2. But I'll try to knock out a lot of the bullet points right up front. I think she has some questions, and we'll just kind of take it from there. But I really appreciate her, helping us spread the word on this case too, and appreciate all of you who are watching this or maybe listening to this. If I put it on the Anchor, the podcast as a bonus show, I really do appreciate everyone who takes the time to look into this case and to care about this case and just ask questions, so. And that is about it, I would say. So we just had the latest podcast come out. Still working on the David Crowley David Crowley story series, and I just put out number 5. Technically it's number 7, but I guess it's number 5. Talking about the gunshots, and I thought that was a very important thing. So we have the gun, we have the bullets, we have the 3 writings, we have the recliner, and then now we have the gunshots. So what is next, right? I mean, the body placements, kind of who died first. It's hard to sum that up in a 5 to 10 minute video. All of this has been really difficult, except for the recliner. I was able to get that in like 1 minute, 2 minutes, under 2 minutes, which is good, because then I can put it on Gitter. If I keep it under 3 minutes, I can put it on Gitter. I could even put it on TikTok, as long as I don't put any music on there. TikTok does not like music, or the music I have tried to put on there. They've silenced those videos. So but that's about it. That's about where we are And so I'm not sure exactly what the next video I'm going to do for the David Crowley story series is. Could go back. I did the one War and Peace, and that covers kind of Kamel and David's early days, their journey up until about 2011. So I could continue on there, and then we can, I think the next one, if I were to do a follow-up with that, would be the Gray State. Then we get into the creation of Gray State and all of that stuff. And you know, it's all mostly stuff that is in my book, so that makes it a lot easier for me to just kind of read it off. To just kind of go over that, and it's just like taking little excerpts from my book. The gunshot one was a little I was confused a little bit myself at some point, because I know trying to explain how somebody if you only hear 3 gunshots, and yet we know that there should have been 6, nobody heard 6, only one person even heard 3 gunshots and was certain that they were gunshots, and only one person heard them within the timeline that we are given as to when these 3 people may have died. So beyond that, there really is not, you know, just one person. We think about it, and I calculated how many people did the police actually talk to. They talked to 12 people, if you include everybody total. Only one of those people heard gunshots within that time frame, and he only heard 3. So only heard 3 rapid fire gunshots. Why did nobody else hear any gunshots? And the other thing was, can we assume that every neighbor was asked about if they heard gunshots? I would kind of assume that, right? I mean, I think that's kind of fair to assume that they would have heard gunshots, or I'm sorry, that they would have been questioned about if they had heard gunshots there. So you know, that is another interesting aspect of this case too. Sorry, just looking for somewhere to park here. So we'll kind of go, so that, but I confused myself a little bit because and hopefully you didn't get confused too much on it, but it was like trying to calculate, okay, 3 rapid fire shots could have accounted for Kamel and Rania, but really it doesn't. It really doesn't, because boom, 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 yet we know that there were 3 bullets tied to Kamel. It could account for all 3 of her shots, which I didn't put in there because I didn't want to confuse people even further with it. But the 3 rapid fire shots could not have accounted, in my view, could not have accounted for Kamel and Rania, simply by just the way that that we were told that the shots were fired, and when they were shot, who got fired, you know, who got hit and everything. Because if the 3 bullets with Kamel makes sense. I'm probably confusing you all right now. But the bullet with Rania is the one that you have to have a really hard time with, because it doesn't have Kamel's blood on it. It has somebody else's DNA, possibly blood, on it, which is weird, right? If there's another DNA profile, is that blood? Is it just a profile? Somebody else is on there. Could that have been one of the cleaners that were in the house? Or if anybody was in the house after January 17th, could that have been theirs? The only reason why I would say that it would not be some of the cleaners is because they only found it because it rolled out of the carpet, and they didn't touch it, as far as we know. Maybe they did, but we don't. As far as we know, they did not touch it. So, and that doesn't account for the other unknown DNA source that is in David's office. Somebody else was in David's office too. So it'd be interesting to see if those 2 unknown DNA sources are actually from the same person, from the same source. And it's 2 or more, so it could be more than one other person with the bullet tied to Rania. It could be another person also with the notepad in David's office. So you have some issues there. But just as far as the gunshots, the 3 rapid fire shots really does not make sense, and would not account for the 2 shots to Kamel and the 1 shot to Rania, since they were rapid fire. They would have all had to have been really, really close within, you know, and we know that Kamel, I mean, that's the other thing, is where the bodies were found, right? Yeah, you shoot Kamel twice, then shoot Rania once, but where Rania's body is found on top of Kamel doesn't match. And then the fact that there's none of Rania's blood on Kamel also doesn't match either. So that, you know, they got some really, really big problems as far as bodies being moved and who's doing the shootings, who's moving the bodies, and who's placing Rania on top of Kamel like that. Staging it for it to be found just like that. David can't stage his own body to look the way that it is, the way that it does. It just, it's not humanly possible. And it is impossible for Kamel to have killed everybody too, because she was shot 2 to 3 times, and her blood is everywhere. It's just, that's not possible either. So that kind of rules all of that out for me. So I was a little confused, so I edited that part down a little bit. Hopefully it's a little less confusing about the 3 rapid fire shots, and why I say, okay, let's say 2 shots accounted for Kamel, let's say 1 accounted for Rania. That still leaves 3 shots, right? So you still have the one that David is tied to, even though there's no blood on that one, so not really. But okay, whatever. You still have the one that goes into the basement, so that's 5. But then you have the 6th shot, which is really, that would be one of the 3 bullets tied to Kamel. So I don't know if I articulated that the way that I really wanted to in the last David Crowley story video, in the gunshots. So I know I did it like twice, and I was like, I don't know if people are really gonna get this. So hopefully people do. Hopefully it makes sense. It's just one theory, but there's just no way that any of those 3 shots could have accounted. You know, the 3 rapid fire shots could not have accounted for Kamel and for Rania. It could only be one or the other. You know, you could play out the different scenarios. Okay, 3 rapid fire shots. Do this for yourself. Play out what could account, who could account, what could account for those 3 rapid fire shots. Think about that, I guess, is what I should have said at the end of that video, because that's really the question. Try to get you thinking about that. What could it possibly be? Of all the possible things, of everything that we know about this case, what could it possibly be that would account for those 3 rapid fire shots? And I'll leave you with that, good peeps. I will see you all back here tomorrow around 12:30 p.m. Pacific. And until then, God bless you all.